We got Stephen Wonderboy Thompson back here on the program who's going to be headlining UFC Nashville against Anthony Pettis on March 23rd. Wonderboy, how are you, man?
Oh, I'm feeling great, man. We are 4 weeks out, 5 weeks out, actually. Well, 4 weeks out, I think. I don't know if I'm correct. I looked at the calendar yesterday, but feeling great, man. Already in shape. I'm ready to rock and roll. So ready to put on a great show for you guys come March 23rd.
We had talked about this fight the last time we did our interview. I know you guys both were into it, but were you surprised to see this come together just with the fact that, Pettis, like I said, he'd fought at lightweight, he fought at featherweight, and now he wants to fight you?
Well, yeah, I mean, the way it was set up, it just kind of worked. I mean, it's great to see that the fighters can still make their own fights, through social media. And that's how it all started, him calling me out on social media and, me talking back. And it just ended up working out. UFC was excited about it. And, yeah, man, I can't believe that I'll be fighting Anthony Pettis March 23rd. I mean, he fought at 145, like you said, was the champ at 155. He's a great striker, which makes for a great fight for me and him. It's pretty cool to see this fight actually come together, yes.
Were there any other fights on the table? Because I know you tried to, get a fight with Robbie Lawler. He ends up fighting Ben Askren. Like, was there any other options, or was this the only thing that seemed realistic?
There was a few 170s that I was trying to fight. Number one, I was really pushing for Robbie Lawler. I've been wanting to fight him for a long time. And, the guys kept coming back saying, no, we're not going to be ready. He's injured. And then a day later, he's fighting Askren. So I'm like, And then I was trying to fight RDA, but he was going to have the ear surgery. Leon Edwards, but then his sciatica was acting up. It was just a bad timing, I guess. Ponzinibbio, it just didn't work out. So I was kind of opponentless for a while, and so I was actually going on vacation. I don't know if I told you this. I was going on vacation to Denver, do some snowboarding up there with a buddy of mine, and got off, put my phone off airplane mode, and my phone was blowing up. I'm like, what is going on? Coming to find out, Anthony Pettis was looking for a fight too.
Okay. Yeah, so that's good. It worked out. You talked about the style matchup. You guys both like to strike. Is there any other way to assess this fight? Because I think that's pretty much how people are looking at this: striker versus striker, and your karate style against his style.
Yeah, I mean, he's very good. He's very good at jiu-jitsu. He's submitted some really high-level jiu-jitsu players. Michael Chiesa, who just moved up and defeated Carlos Condit. If the fight, I'm prepared wherever the fight's going to go. He's got a Taekwondo background. I've got a karate background, which is going to be it's going to be a great matchup. And that's why I like this game, especially, to fight somebody like Anthony Pettis. I've been a fan of his for a while just because of his style. We have a very similar style. But to go out there and play that style against each other is what's exciting to me, to try and play that chess match and outdo them in their own game. To be honest with you, I believe Anthony Pettis is more prepared for my style than anybody that I've faced so far in the 170 division. Most of the guys that I faced have been wrestlers or boxing style fighters, and Anthony Pettis is going to be more prepared for my style because of his Taekwondo background, which is exciting to me. It really is, because I haven't faced anybody that is used to it yet.
Do you feel like that will lead to more of an exciting matchup? Because I know one of the criticisms is, when you fought Woodley, it wasn't the most exciting fight in the rematch. Do you feel like this is finally the fight where we're going to see the old Wonderboy, where you guys just go toe-to-toe and get that fight of the night type performance?
Oh, yeah, definitely, man. This has got, a barn burner written all over it. I mean, he's going to be aggressive. He's always been an exciting fighter anyway. And him's going to push the pace. I'm going to push the pace. And I think just the competition of trying to outdo each other in that style is going to make it fun for the fans. He's got awesome highlight reels. I do too. So predicting a knockout, man.
Yeah.
It's
No,
we're
looking forward to it. Yeah, it is. March 23rd is when that fight's taking place. Now, for training camp, did you do anything different for this one? I know in the past you've trained with Chris Weidman. I know he's in Prague right now, according to John Vellante. Anything different at all for this camp?
No, nothing real. I've actually stayed home for this camp. Chris Weidman is in Prague. He's had neck surgery, so he wasn't able to do a whole lot. But we got some high-level strikers. We've always had high-level strikers here at our camp. Putting out some world champion kickboxers, karate fighters here. So I've got the striking down. I've got my buddy Carl Reed, who's phenomenal wrestler. He's a 205er, so he's a big wrestler, but he fights like me. His stand-up's phenomenal. John Sweeney, who's actually fighting tonight.
Ring of Combat, I saw that,
yeah. Ring of Combat title. The guy is fast. He's explosive. So, man, I'm more prepared for this camp. and more excited for this camp than the past 3. So it's been fun, man. It's been really fun. So I'm really excited. Look forward to stepping out there and showing the fans and you guys what I'm capable of, and seeing the old Stephen Wonderboy Thompson back out there ready to rock and roll.
Now, for this weight cut, are you working with Perfecting Athletes again, or are you just doing your own thing?
No, my last camp I worked with Georges Lockhart.
Oh, that's right.
Which
yeah.
is my first. And I've had a bunch of guys, some high-level guys up there that I've worked with them. Roy McDonald, Conor McGregor. You got even Chris Weidman has worked with them. And my last fight, the weight cut was just phenomenal. My body felt great. I felt strong. I got my weight back up to where I feel comfortable. Before my weight cuts, I've like when the first 2 Woodley fights, my first Woodley fight, I only got up to 178. That's the heaviest I was when I stepped in the octagon. Tyron was probably back up to 200. So, I want to be a little heavier. So we were working with Georges Lockhart, and he's doing a phenomenal job.
That's great. And one of the things people are making about this fight is what we talked about, which is that, Pettis once fought at featherweight. He's fighting a welterweight. But like you mentioned the last time we spoke, you don't think the size is going to be much of a difference because you're not a huge 170, or you might be pretty long and lanky, but you're not like a huge welterweight, right?
No, yeah, I'm not. I'm not like a Tyron Woodley or a Ponzinibbio or a Darren Till. These guys, you got some 170s that, man, they're huge. I see them out, not in camp, and they're well over 210 pounds. The heaviest I get is about 190. I may go a little bit, but during camp I stay right about 185, 190, which isn't a big welterweight. A lot of guys walk around heavier than that. So yeah, I don't think the weight difference is going to be that big of a difference. They're not going to play a part in this. Unless I'm a wrestler, it could probably play a big part in this fight. This is going to be a striking game. I think at some point in time in this fight, he's going to look to take me down. And I'm prepared for that. Everybody that I look to fight, eventually tries to take me down. So, yeah, man, I think it's going to be a good one. The weight is not going to matter.
One other factor in this matchup is, the wars that Pettis has been in. He got hurt in his last fight against Tony Ferguson. He got finished against Dustin Poirier. You really haven't had that in your career. You haven't had a fight. Maybe the one Woodley fight where you got knocked down, but really you haven't taken a lot of damage in your career. I know you pride yourself on that. Do you feel like that will pay dividends in this matchup?
Yeah, I think it always does. No matter who I face, I haven't taken a ton of damage. Even though I've been fighting since I was 15 years old, I've never been knocked out. I've been put down a few times. Getting knocked down by Ellenberger, Tyron Woodley, some big, heavy-handed guys, and still couldn't put me away. And I think that has to do with not taking a lot of damage in my fight. So, yeah, and Anthony Pettis has taken a few shots. He got finished by Poirier, like you said. He's broken his hand several times. I'm 36 years old. I'm not getting any younger, but I feel great. My body feels great. I've had, 4 knee surgeries on my left and 2 on my right, but it hadn't slowed me down one bit.
You mentioned you're going to finish this fight. What round can we expect that?
I never predict rounds, man. I never predict rounds. I have a feeling that it's going to go out there and happen. And if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But, I'm prepared for a 5-5 in a round war, and that's what gives me the confidence to step out there, man, and just to give it all I got. But us being 2 strikers, me being a little bit longer, it's going to be a fun match, man. And I'm predicting a knockout. Not really sure which round, but it's going to happen.
Where do you feel like a win over Pettis puts you in this division? Because he's moving up. He is a former champion, but he's also, I think, 3-6 in his last 9 fights or something like that. Like, how do you look at this fight in terms of where a win would put you?
I don't think it would. I think it just will put me back out in the fans and the UFC's mind. I've been out for 7 months. Do I think it's going to push me up for another title fight or push me up the rankings? No, but Anthony Pettis has a name. He's been the 155 champion. He's got a huge back, a huge following. So I think it's a great way to go out there and let everybody know that I'm still here. I'm not taking this guy lightly. I know everybody's like, man, you're going to go out there and crush this guy. That's all I've been hearing. But anything can happen. He's a high-level striker, and he's a veteran. He's been in the game for a long time. I'm not taking him lightly. So, but I think a win over him will just put me back in that limelight.
Is there anyone you want next after this fight, just in terms of looking at the division, some of the matchups that are made? I know you'd like another crack at the title, but I'm sure you probably feel like maybe one more would probably do the trick.
Yeah, man. It really doesn't matter. Anybody in the top 5. Like I said, I've been wanting to fight Robbie Lawler for a while. I'm not really sure where he's at in the rankings right now. But anybody in that top 5, I think that would just be a fun fight for the fans too. So it really doesn't matter, man. But if they say Robbie Lawler, boo, give me him, man. I've been wanting to fight him for a long time and a huge fan of his. And hopefully it does work when he fights Ben Askren. So that's going to be a fun fight.
Georges St Pierre, your good friend, retired yesterday officially. Do you have like a best memory or any good story you had of training with him? Because I know you guys did train together at TriStar for a bit.
Man, I've got so many memories being up there with that guy. He is a monster in the cage and in the gym, but the nicest guy you will ever meet in your freaking life. But I mean, he was my inspiration to switch from kickboxing to mixed martial arts. He brought me in for his camps. You know, he was fighting. I was there for his camps. We fought Carlos Condit, John Fitch, Thiago Alves, Matt Serra, Johnny Hendricks. I've been up there for a long time, and I found myself learning more jiu-jitsu and wrestling to be a better sparring partner for George. And I remember going up there. I think it was not sparring with him, but going to the Olympic Training Center, wrestling center with him, and just being scared to death, man. I mean, you had to. I was ready. The MMA fighters literally huddled in a corner, and these Olympic athletes would just come up and pick, you know, an MMA fighter here and there just to drill with. And it's my first time, and the biggest heavyweight wrestler there came and picked me for the very first time. And I remember watching over there, looking at GSP and the wrestling coach just laughing their butts off, man, because I got to go work with this monster of a wrestler. Thank God the guy was just a gentle giant, but man, I was scared stiff, man. It was a good time. Every time I went up there, we had a great time.
Were you surprised to see him retire?
Yeah, I figured he would have one or two more fights in him. I mean, he still looks great, and he's a long life. You know, he's a martial artist. The guy, when the guy's not in training or doesn't have a fight, he's constantly training. He's always bettering himself. I mean, he does different stuff. I know he was into gymnastics for a long time, to strengthen, to do some therapeutic and to do something different. But he's a long life martial artist, and I figured he would probably have one or two more fights left. But hey, man, you know, he doesn't have to fight in my eyes to stay the champ. I mean, he'll always be the champ and the best of all time in my eyes, especially in the 170 division. I mean, there's nobody that will just overdo him. I don't think.
When was the last time you talked to him?
You know what? The last time I talked to George was when I fought Tyron Woodley for the second time. He called me up, wishing me good luck, and said, you know, I'm wanting to fight again, but I would never fight a brother. I'd never fight you. Just to let you know that, you know, if you do get that title, I'm not going to touch it. So it was more of a respect thing. You know, I don't think I would ever fight GSP either. He's such a good friend of mine. And, you know, there was at one point there was talk of me fighting him and him coming out of retirement. If I got the title, would I fight GSP? And I'm like, nah, man, he's my idol, man. He's my idol.
And instead, you're going to fight a former champion in Anthony Pettis coming up here March 23rd. This is an awesome card. It's UFC Nashville. Steven is in the main event. I'm really looking forward to this one. Just remind people where they can find you on social media, and if you got any thank yous or shout outs, the floor is yours, man.
Well, first, man, I want to thank you for having me on. It's always a pleasure chatting with you. But if you guys want to follow me on social media, Twitter and Instagram is Wonderboy MMA. Facebook, Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. Check it out. Check out March 23rd, Nashville. UFC, baby. Hopefully you'll be cheering for me. Let's go.